Sleepaway camp was supposed to be fun. Cabin 4, 12 boys, stupid ghost stories. Until the real horror started. On the second night, I woke up to a clicking sound outside. A flashlight beam cut through the window. Then another click. I peeked through the curtains and saw him. An old man with a gray beard, holding a Polaroid camera, pointed right at our cabin. He wasn't just taking pictures. He was licking them as they developed. I woke up my bunkmate, Jason. We told the counselors, but they just laughed. Probably just a hiker. He was letting take me away further in. Then the next morning, I found a Polaroid tucked under my pillow. A blurry shot of me sleeping, taken from inside our cabin. That night, the door handle rattled at 3 a.m. A voice whispered, "Jason, smile for the camera." We screamed. The counselors came running, but when they searched the woods, all they found was a single Polaroid nailed to a tree. Jason's face. His eyes scratched out in red marker. The camp shut down the next day. 20 years later, I still get anonymous letters. No return address, just fresh Polaroids of Camp Black Pines. And in every one, Jason's face. Still screaming, still trapped, still developing. The other boys cheered as the old yellow school bus rattled down the dirt road. The 12-year-old me clutched my backpack like a lifeline. Something felt wrong about Camp Black Pines from the start. The trees were too thick. The air smelled like wet pennies. And the counselors, mostly college kids, kept glancing at the woods like something was watching us. "You'll love it here," said Smith, 19 years old with a nervous twitch. "Just remember, stay where we can see you." I should have asked what he meant. The first night, cabin 4 smelled like mildew and something dead under the floorboards. That's when I found the first Polaroid. Tucked under my mattress, a blurry photo of a man standing between the trees. No face. Just a dark smile and 2 long arms. I showed it to my bunkmate, Jason. The furs. "Dude, not funny," he said, but his hands were shaking. The bearded stranger next morning, during nature hike, we saw him. A gaunt man in filthy overall, standing perfectly still between 2 pines. His beard was matted with leaves. His eyes were solid black. Counselor Dave went pale. "Kids, back to camp." Now, the midnight photographer that night, I woke to a clicking sound outside. Through the window, a flashlight beam, a Polaroid camera, and the man licking photos as they developed. When he turned, his mouth unhinged like a snake's, full of children's teeth. The bloody handbook rules scratched out and replaced with, "He wants eyes." The locked storage shed where the missing campers actually went. Counselor Dave's confession. We have to give him 1 kid per summer. The night the power died and the flashbulbs started popping outside every cabin, we broke into the woods to find his lair, a moldy tent wallpapered with photos. Hundreds, maybe thousands. Every camper from the last 30 years, including Jason's older brother, listed as ran away last summer, Counselor Dave, as a child, all with the same date, July 18th. Tomorrow's date. The photographer must feed. Give him the noisy one at midnight, or he takes 3. Jason sobbed. He was the noisy one. Then the tent flaps zipped shut by themselves. Midnight. The camp erupted in screams as flashbulbs popped everywhere. Boys ran, but the trees grabbed them back. I watched the photographer press Jason against a cabin wall and peel his face off like wet paper. Click. A new Polaroid slid out. The survivor's secret I barely escaped. Now, 20 years later, I get a letter every July. No return address, just a fresh Polaroid of Camp Black Pines, and in the corner of each one, Jason's face still screaming. Two days after the first sighting, I found the Camp Black Pines rule book stuffed under my pillow. Someone had scribbled over the pages in what looked like dried blood. Original rule: no leaving cabins after lights out. Scratched out. Replaced with, he comes at 3:33 a.m. Original rule: respect nature. Now said, the trees have eyes. The last page was just handprints. Dozens of them, all child-sized, but with 6 fingers each. The midnight census that night. I woke to tapping on our cabin door. Not knocking, tapping like long fingernails. A whisper slithered through the cracks. 4 boys in cabin 4. Jason, Tyler, Elijah, and you. It knew our names. Then, click, the sound of a Polaroid camera. When I looked out the window, I saw Counselor Dave standing frozen by the fire pit. The photographer perched on his shoulders like a giant insect. Dave's face stretched into a smile too wide to be human. The flashbulb popped. In its brief light, I saw hundreds of photos strung between the trees. A web of children's faces. The history of the hungry lens inside the stalker's tent. We found newspaper clippings. July 18th, 1998. First disappearance at Camp Black Pines, July 18 every year since. 1 child vanishes, all reports end with found their camera. Film melted. And 1 faded photo of the original 1998 campers. All standing in our exact cabin positions, with a shadowy 7th figure none of them seemed to notice. Jason started hyperventilating when we found the freshly developed stack showing. Him crying at lunch. Him sleeping last night, him with his eyes scratched out in red marker. He's marking me, Jason whispered. Then the tent flap zipped itself shut, and from outside, say cheese. At exactly 3:33 a.m., the entire camp erupted in flashes. Boys ran screaming as their shadows stuck to the cabin walls. Counselor Dave unzipped his own skin, revealing the photographer underneath the tree's sprouted arms, and grabbed anyone trying to flee. I watched Jason get pressed against the flagpole like he was being mounted in a scrapbook. The photographer tilted his head. No face, just a lens where his nose should be. On. Click. Jason's scream got quieter. Then flat. Then just paper rustling as his body became a life-sized photograph. Now as an adult, I work night security. Last week, the surveillance cameras glitched at 3:30 a.m. When I checked the playback, I saw every screen filled with Polaroid static, a figure crawling out of the monitor, and 1 clear shot of Jason's face pressed against the lens, mouthing, "You're next summer's picture."